in our solving of our exercise 1D in general mathematics. Here we go. Remember, this is in brackets, so this minus sign will multiply through. If you check my algebra, my topic on algebra that I gave you, you see that invisible one is here plus 1 plus 1. So when you multiply minus 2 times plus 1 will give us minus 2. Now, if you multiply minus 2 times plus 1 will give us what? Minus 2. Because plus times minus is minus. This is where I will talk about minus sign and plus. Please get back to my algebra. You see it. You need to learn down very well because you'll be having issues if you don't know how to manage all these minus and plus issues. I have dealt with it seriously in my elementary part of algebra, stage 1, stage 2 to stage 5. Try do well to get that. So you can do it this way. It's two ways you can do it. You can do it like this. What we now say, applying our fourth law of indices times 1 over a raised to power 2, which is now equal to 1 over 9a raised to power 2. Or you can do it directly. Since everything is in brackets, you just do it. Applying our fourth law of indices, we'll now say 1 over the number, which is 3a all squared, removing the minus sign. So it's applying it our fourth law. So you now have the square will not affect everything, which now give us what? 9a squared. So either ways you can do it. The next one is this. Remember our interpretation of our sixth law of indices. Don't forget to interpretation of our sixth law of indices, meaning that this one is 1 over 2. Don't mind the fact, so we now have 3 raised to power 4. You know this symbol means 1 over 2 in our sixth law of indices. So when we do that, we're going to have 3 raised to power 4 over what? If you multiply through, you open the brackets in the power. So you now have this 3 raised to power 2, which is equal to what? 9. Because 3 raised to power 2 means 3 times 3. Don't forget, it's the interpretation of our sixth law. 4 was there before. 4 will become the numerator, while this one will come out and become the denominator when you multiply to open the bracket through the power. Please don't forget that. Then this one, we are going to do this one. This one in this case, don't forget, we are going to apply our fourth law of indices. Raised to power minus, meaning that 1 over the number, removing the minus sign. So we now say 1 over a raised to power 2. Don't forget 1 over what? 2. That's what we do first. Don't worry, we are going there. So we now have 1 over. Don't forget, in this case now you can see that this one will multiply through and cancel out. It now be 2 over 2. A 2 over what? 2. Which becomes 1 over. If you cancel it, becomes what? 1 over. A. That is exactly what we have there. 1 over A to cancel out. In this case, we are having 1 over the number. What is the number? 1 over 9. 1 over 9. Removing the minus sign is 3 raised to power 1. There's no need of putting the 1 there. Then we will now say 1. This one means 1 divided by 1 over what? 9. You will now make this one a full fraction. Because when you make it a full fraction, it's for you to, like, you are doing it in such a way that it does not affect the number that was there before. So 1 over 1. Now we now convert. When we want to convert division to multiplication, we do an inversion. So we now have 1 over 1 times the 9 will now come up, the 1 will come down. Inversion, that's what we do. We now have 9 over 1. 9 over 1. So when you do that, you now have what? 9 divided by 1, which is equal to what? 9. Don't forget that too, because this thing is often very common, even in physics and so what is being done there, most people don't know how it is done. So 1 over 1 divide. So the inversion will now be when we want to change it to multiplication. Don't forget that. Then I will go to this last one, which is 1 over the number, removing the minus sign. Don't forget 1 over 4. I'm now removing the minus sign now 1 over 2. If I do that, this is what I'm going to have. Don't forget the square root. This one means square root. Don't forget square root because it's over 2, it's 3 by a cube root. So you now have 1 over 4. square root. So now I have 1 over, the square root of 1 is 1. The square root of 4 is what? 2. So the same thing we did here is going to be 1 divided by 1 over 2. Make it a full fraction, so we now have 1 over 1 times 2 over 1. Same thing we did there. So we now have 2 as the answer. Please make sure you like and follow and comment. I want to see your comments so as to know where you don't understand.